welcome to another edition Sincere Community Webcast podcast. This is a catch-up. It's also got audio from a YouTube video that was created years ago now. It's to do with a public inquiry reference T682/18, which is of the Home Office and the National Archives, UK. I'll just recap with you. So I was only renting an assured tenancy from the local authority, that's the council here in Bath City, Somerset, in England. As it is, in my rights and the aggravated fraud that illegally evicted me from December 2016 to June 23rd, 2017. That's right, aggravated fraud. And that means that my housing compliance officer was being impersonated by an imposter. It's like identity theft, impersonation. So within my rights and my right to complain without fear and or fear of reprisals, corruption, it definitely doesn't give the corrupt the right to subject me to an abusive process when I formally complained, and it doesn't give them the right to leave me stuck in the conditions of an abusive process so that they can default in the penalty of all the GDPR breaches to it. Basically, that, you know, their disagreement is their fraud at the end of the day, and that's what's lacking: accountability and transparency for the facts, because the facts are I was illegally evicted via fraud of courts, inchoate offences in aggravated fraud. So my missing or abducted housing compliance officer, young woman, the real one that is, it's a young woman. She's a bit like who could I compare her to? Holly Willoughby. I'd compare her to like Holly Willoughby in a way. So not the one that pretended to be her. She's smaller, different nose, different type of blonde, different like accent. Anyway, she's missing. She's been abducted. She's my housing compliance officer. Now there's this mad woman pretending to be her, trying to kick me out of my home with no official capacity to like represent the local authority, the council, and that of their social housing, which is a brand called Curo, who took over from the likes of Soma Housing, like back in the 90s. So bureaucracy and that, I could put up with a bit of it, but when it drags on for like 5 years and we've got inflation and a big stock market crash heading our way, you know, the UK's bottoming out, and that we're gonna slump out real soon and crash, and then you've got the 7 years for each person, or like each victim that's a missing person and stuff, in the likes of they don't know where they are, they don't know where their corpses are and whatnot. Although there is some strong evidence indicating, and at least like one victim in particular, as to the likes of like where that victim might be. So, or at least was removed by who the victim was removed by. Anyway, so as I informed everyone, all the security services, everyone abroad, right, has a part to play in controlling the data share of my right to complain about aggravated fraud and the fraud of court. So that's like Interpol, FBI, everyone, even here, Britain, MI5, M16. Oh no, MI6. Say M16. Pardon me. I'm just thinking about Rambo Because, of course, I'm not allowed, and I'm not Rambo. And, like, Sajid Javid is not Rambo. You know, Boris Johnson is not Rambo. Theresa May is not Rambo. Priti Patel is not Rambo. You know, no one can really go Rambo on every idiot that has been talking rubbish, like from the likes of the council or the local police force and so on. So, right. I'm stuck in an abusive process. I've been abused. I've been mistreated. Right? I've been neglected. Right? I'm not making that much progress. You know, the lack of accountability and everything. Everyone's known from the start, even while I lived there and the crimes were in progress. You know? So, am I mad and wrong? No, I'm not. But initially, that's what they wanted me to be. And I'm not. The Home Office, bless them, Sajid Javid and the legal team, they tried to help me, right? They've given me like a plaintiff motion, which is obviously, the Supreme Court is presiding over my plaintiff motion the whole time, right? So that's for all the other courts, the County Court, the Bath High Court, and that's like the Crown Court of it, they'll be presiding over the whole thing. I am a plaintiff. I'm not a defendant. I've not been arrested. I'm not a suspect. So, I've got a public inquiry. I've got the reference number. I've got some other reference numbers from the National Crime Agency and Action Fraud to go with it. They've been taking a better look for the Home Office at it all. They've spent 5 years doing that. And they failed to publish anything because they only had 2 years each to publish something. And they've not done it. Right. Now we're 5 years into it. So many people involved. So many governments. Right. So many missing people. There's like, in the last sort of 50 years, right here at Bath and North East Somerset, there's like 500,000 missing people. You know? So, right. My feelings, they're injured, but I don't have COVID-19. Like my belongings, like 3/4 of my belongings have been destroyed. I'm still homeless, really. Temporary accommodation is not good enough. Especially when it's sheltered accommodation in a partnership of what is just management. Because that's all they really are, right, is management, right? That's what they do for the government. That's what they do for Parliament, for the government, the state, and the church, and the Queen of England. They're just a management, right? So that's all in contract, right? And guarantee, yeah, with the assurances, the requirements, the standards, the obligations, and that. No? So, like, misinformation is a misrepresentation, right? A misrepresentation of the contract is a contract you terminate. Right. So what are we looking at? Ahead of us is not very long left till the first, like, homicide or abduction, homicide, missing person is officially declared dead out of, like, there's several now caught up in my public inquiry. So, like, as of the first, which is coming up real soon, in the first 7 years, hopefully he gets an Elizabeth Cross and everything, and we can all have this wrapped up and start to wrap it all up. That's Crown Court, right? And they'll be cross-examined. Hopefully it won't drag on and on for ages in Crown Court. At least I bet it better not. Or the adjournments, or even defendant appeals and stuff like that, and listening to motives. We hope not. So that it drags on for like over a year and that, and ends up being really costly. And if it ends up costing the state even more money when it's as divested and burdened as it is with every a-hole that's like, you know, interfered and caused all the debts we have, the like stock market crash on the way as well. And I'm looking at a 40% exit. That's way better than the likes of Brexit. I'm looking at another 40% like exit as well in recovering every bit of the debt by 40%. Yeah. of its net worth. So take that, management brand and all that. The redundancies, I'm looking at people being locked up for like 23 years or more. And that, well, this is getting really good. And look how unconventional it is right now with the COVID-19 as well. So, no retaliating like frauds. What? And in Brexit, you must be mad. I didn't even vote for Brexit. Who voted for Brexit? Mad people. Yeah, mad people that should have been far more intelligent, or intelligent enough to remember who bailed loads of companies out, like companies like British Steel for a start. Well, Europe did, and that was before Brexit and so on. So like this, it's a serious problem, right? It's been non-stop. It's lasted like 5 years already. It's almost 6 years into it. I hate the situation. Like I proper loathe it. I despise like the whole in situ, like irresolute, misguided, like hateful lot. They hate me. They can't stand me because I like ruined it for them, right? I've not been arrested. I don't even need a barrister. I don't need a barrister. I don't have a barrister. I don't need one. I've not been arrested. There will not be any forensic evidence against me, right? I promise you. Like, I'm not mad and wrong. These missing people, these abducted people, and that members of the public too, and people like with missing kids and everything. And it's gone on and on since I was like a kid as well. Like, and just right here, you know, obviously in London and up north and that, but like right here too, right around me while I was growing up and everything. Like this local authority and their local police and that, even like the NHS, who are besieged with fraudulent colleagues. Like, look at how, you know how many people they sacked. Just thinking about like in terms of like, or the Stephen Lawrence inquiry and police officers that were sacked because of it, you know, who are like institutionally racist and everything and do everything wrong, like frauds. And even like the likes of like Melanie Hall, that is a nurse at the local NHS down the road who like was abducted. She went missing from a local nightclub back in the 90s and that, and you know, and then her corpse popped up. Well, I don't know, it's like kind of recently her corpse like popped up in some field down on an A road, like near the motorway, like some years back. But like realistically, there's like she was missing for like over 20 years, like nearly 20 years. Her body was like, her corpse was missing for over 20 years. They still ain't even solved it. They still haven't solved who murdered Melanie Hall and stuff like that. They're like besieged with frauds. I'm like trying to think of other examples. Like the likes of this, a public inquiry that I have for a start. And like, even with the like, the scandal, the like U-Tree and all that with Jimmy Savile and everything, and like, look, they sacked like over 5,000 coppers got sacked over all that. Do you not remember that? It was in the papers and everything, like 5,000 coppers they sacked from all of that, and that's like from like a knock-on effect from all the U-Tree like investigations and stuff like that, of a bunch of separate inquiries all like integrated into U-Tree and everything. So like, yeah, besieged with like fraudulent colleagues and that, who can't do their jobs properly, and all the fraternising and aspersions that go on. And like my district judge, Judge Goddard, who didn't even like preside, he didn't even show up. They rejected my complaint, and then like quite a few times they rejected my complaint and tried to treat me like I was mad and wrong, until like a few months later when I was supposed to like stand in county court for the repossession hearing, and he didn't even show up. It was like Judge Collins was presiding instead, and she just booted me out because I didn't want to be there, because like she's not her, she's committing aggravated fraud. So anyway, and like he's like a missing person. Well, where is he? Where is Judge Goddard? They're like 23 different people became missing people. Like 23 people became missing people like every day. 23 people become missing people every single day in Bath and North East Somerset. That's like on a daily average. And like what? And then like I think back to like August 6th, 2020, and they're doing it right in front of me, and I tried to help one of them. Like it's all on camera and everything, and I was like, made a massive stink about it and complained about it. They attacked everyone. That's just when they're easing up on the lockdown, and they attacked all those like teenagers and young adults who were out drinking. And you know, whilst they're like, just before that was having to deport hundreds of Europeans for being sex offenders and murderers. Not long after it, having to do that again. And then, like, recently, they're having to do it all over again and deport, like, 500 European sex offenders that have raped and murdered people from, like, Britain. This is the thing. Well, I'm going to cut it short because I've gone on for, like, 16 and a half minutes. But the situation drags on. I've not actually been arrested. I don't have a barrister. I don't need one. I won't need one. I've got my public inquiry, which entitles me to, like, obligatory disabuse from like the abusive process that I've been through, and that, as well as like my plaintiff motion with the Supreme Court presiding over the whole investigation. Interesting, gives you like something to think about. But of all the things and all the money that's gone into it, and the money that's been like divested and embezzled and messed up and misappropriated because of it and everything, I mean, it's a damn shame, because at the end of the day, it's something so incredibly simple. And people have said, oh, we looked at your blog on Facebook and that to do with it, and it's just far too much information. Like, you sit there and you write something nearly every day, and you just go on and on and on, and you write like hundreds and hundreds of thousands and thousands of words. It's like all far too much information for something that's far too simple. At the end of the day, it was aggravated fraud that like illegally evicted me. How could they do it? That's not a cold case. A cold case doesn't have an imposter. A cold case is a missing person without someone pretending to be them, and they can't work out who's done it or find the missing person. That's like a cold case. This is aggravated fraud. We know. Anyway, there'll be like the bonus to check out and a trailer for this as well. So I don't know much else to say. I'll be making another there'll be another catch up part to this where I'll spend maybe an hour reflecting on the state of it, and that there's been developments recently, especially with Gary Pugh, OBE. He's like a forensic examiner, forensic examiner for the United Kingdom, and that works at the Home Office, and the Home Office formally acknowledged me by appointment in contacting Gary Pugh, OBE, the Chief Forensic Examiner and staff within my public inquiry. T682/18. Look out for updates. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay well. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.